What could possibly drive China's highest court to hand down one of the harshest rulings in recent history? Nation stunned, China's top court delivers 3 death sentences. 17 life terms in Yu Menglong murder case. Entire nation is in shock. The truth is darker than anyone imagined. And now, Red Carpet Revealed invites you to uncover the full story. The news broke like a thunderclap across the entire nation, sending shockwaves through households, schools, offices, and digital forums alike. For weeks, the people of China had been waiting for the final decision in what had become one of the most horrifying and sensational trials in modern memory, the brutal murder of beloved actor and singer Yu Menglong. When the Supreme People's Court finally announced its ruling, 3 death sentences and 17 life terms, it was as though the very air had been sucked out of the country. The verdict was historic, chilling, and devastating all at once. And yet it carried the weight of an entire nation's demand for justice. How did it come to this? How did a young man who had only ever brought joy through music, drama, and performance become the center of one of the darkest sagas imaginable? To understand the magnitude of this verdict, one must retrace the painful journey that began long before the final gavel echoed inside the highest court of the land. Yu Menglong was not just another celebrity. Born into a modest family, he rose to stardom with sheer talent, hard work, and an aura that made him a household name. His voice carried the softness of sincerity. His screen presence radiated charm. And fans across generations adored him for embodying both vulnerability and strength. He became a symbol of modern Chinese entertainment, an artist who bridged tradition and youth culture. Yet fame, as it so often does, cast long shadows behind the glitz of television lights. Forces were already circling. The night of the crime has already been etched into public memory with unbearable clarity. Who had just finished a rehearsal for an upcoming performance, was laughing with friends, exchanging messages with fans, and preparing to head home. No one could have predicted that within hours, tragedy would strike with merciless brutality. According to prosecutors, the attack was premeditated, coordinated, and executed with a cruelty that defied comprehension. Multiple individuals were involved. A shocking total of more than 20 suspects, bound together by motives that ranged from envy to financial manipulation, and perhaps even deeper conspiracies still hidden from view. When authorities first announced the arrests, the sheer number of suspects stunned everyone. How could so many people have conspired against one man? How could jealousy, greed, and corruption metastasize into something so grotesque? The initial investigation revealed CCTV footage, phone records, and intercepted communications that painted a grim portrait. Yu Menglong had been targeted, watched, and cornered by those who saw in him not a person but a pawn in a larger, murkier game. The trial itself became a national spectacle. From the first day, crowds gathered outside the courthouse, holding photos of Yu, chanting slogans demanding justice, and lighting candles that burned late into the night. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was suffocating. Judges sat stern-faced. Prosecutors presented damning evidence. And the defendants, shackled and pale, listened as their deeds were read aloud in excruciating detail. The testimony was harrowing. Witnesses spoke of threats, of coordinated meetings, of payments exchanged in shadows. Forensic experts reconstructed the events, step by step, leaving nothing to imagination. It was the testimony of Yu Menglong's family that broke the court's composure. His mother, frail yet unyielding, stood and spoke through tears, describing her son not as a celebrity but as the child she had raised with hope and sacrifice. She begged for truth. She demanded justice. And her words echoed far beyond the walls of the trial. His girlfriend, trembling and tearful, told of his final days, of the whispered dreams he never had the chance to realize, of the love they shared that had been brutally cut short. The gallery wept openly, and even hardened court officials shifted uncomfortably, eyes glistening with restrained grief. Public opinion grew fiercer with each passing day. Hashtags demanding severe punishment trended endlessly on social media. Comment sections overflowed with fury, mourning, and unrelenting questions. Who had orchestrated this? Who profited from his death? Why had it taken so long to deliver justice? Some believed the case exposed deeper rot within entertainment and business circles. Others feared the involvement of untouchable figures who might never face the light of accountability. As the trial dragged on, tension became unbearable. Rumors of corruption circulated. with whispers that powerful forces had tried to interfere, to lighten sentences, to suppress certain testimonies. Yet, the shock of many, the Supreme Court pressed on with relentless resolve. Every session seemed to intensify the sense that this was not merely a legal proceeding, but a moral reckoning for the entire country. Finally, the day of the verdict arrived. Near the courthouse were swarmed by thousands of fans and ordinary citizens who waited for the announcement. Some clutched signs reading "Justice for You." Others simply held flowers. The air was heavy with anticipation, as though all of China was holding its breath at once. Inside the courtroom, silence fell as the presiding judge read the final decision. His voice was steady, his words cutting through the stillness with surgical precision. This was merciless yet precise. 3 individuals would face death for their role in Menglong's murder. While 17 others would spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Family members sobbed. Defendants collapsed. Outside, news spread in waves, breaking across phone screens and television broadcasts, until the entire nation reverberated with the gravity of the judgment. Some called it justice. Others called it vengeance. But none could deny the enormity of what had just transpired. This was not just a verdict on 20 criminals. It was a statement about the lengths to which the law would go to uphold justice, to preserve order, to reassure a nation that no crime, no matter how powerful the perpetrators, no matter how tangled the conspiracy, would escape punishment. Yet even as relief washed over many, questions remained. Truly lay behind the plot. Who had funded or encouraged it? Were there hidden hands that had been shielded from exposure? As celebratory headlines filled newspapers, investigative whispers persisted. It had brought closure, yes, but also unearthed deeper uncertainties. The nation had its justice, perhaps not its full truth. And so, in the days that followed, China found itself grappling with a paradox, a sense of relief mixed with a gnawing hunger for more answers. Menglong had become a martyr in the eyes of many. Death a tragic symbol of both vulnerability and resilience. The court had acted with unprecedented severity. Whether the case was truly closed remained a haunting question. Aftermath of the Supreme Court's decision, the entire nation seemed to hold on to one singular question: was justice finally served? Or was this simply the surface of something much darker that lay beneath? For Menglong's grieving family, the ruling was both a victory and a reminder of what could never be restored. For millions of fans, it was the closure they demanded. Also a wound that would never fully heal. News channels replayed footage of the verdict on endless loops. Commentators spoke with urgency, dissecting every aspect of the ruling. Legal experts praised the court's courage in delivering such a decisive outcome, declaring it a strong deterrent against future conspiracies. Others raised uneasy concerns. Was the reliance on capital punishment a step backward? Or was it the only language that could truly convey the seriousness of the crime? International human rights organizations voiced criticism, warning that the use of death sentences cast a long ethical shadow over the case. Yet, within China, the majority seemed united in belief that nothing less would suffice for the gravity of this crime. Menglong's mother, approached by reporters outside her home, offered a heartbreaking statement. They gave the harshest punishment, but it will never bring my son back. My everything. Now I only hope no mother will ever have to feel what I feel. Her words were replayed countless times, bedding themselves into the nation's conscience. His girlfriend, pale and exhausted, released a short message on social media: "Justice is done, but my heart will never heal. I will carry him with me forever." These raw, intimate glimpses into their pain drew millions of responses, with fans promising to keep Yu's memory alive. Indeed, vigils and memorials sprang up across cities. Fans lit candles, held photos of him high, whose songs together in trembling unison. His music videos surged in views. His dramas were rewatched by devoted audiences. His face appeared on billboards not as a marketing image, as a cultural emblem of loss and remembrance. In Beijing, thousands gathered in a square, chanting "Justice for You," their voices carrying into the night sky. It was no longer about celebrity, it was about humanity, about demanding that society protect its own. While the ripple effects reached into the very heart of the entertainment industry, producers, managers, fellow performers began speaking out. Some cautiously, others boldly. Rumors of systemic exploitation surfaced. Questions about the pressures placed on young stars, manipulation of careers, and the hidden dealings between networks and financiers gained traction. Commentators asked whether Menglong's case was a tragic anomaly or a symptom of deeper structural corruption that had long gone unchecked. The government, perhaps sensing the urgency of public scrutiny, announced new initiatives to strengthen protections for artists and to investigate potential abuses within the industry. Skeptics remained unconvinced. Some journalists hinted that not all of the guilty had been punished, that the 3 deaths and 17 life sentences might represent only the exposed edge of a much larger iceberg. Conspiracy theories flourished online. Was Yu targeted for refusing powerful interests? Did he stumble upon secrets too dangerous to ignore? Was his death not only a crime of passion and greed, but also a silencing? Regardless of the speculation, one undeniable truth emerged: Menglong's name had become immortalized. He was no longer just a rising star, he was a symbol, a martyr of sorts, whose death forced a reckoning across society. His story was taught in classrooms, debated in forums, and honored in tributes. Documentaries began production, promising to uncover the full scope of what had happened, while publishers rushed to release books that blended fact and emotion in recounting his life and tragic end. The legal world also shifted. Analysts suggested that this verdict would set a precedent for harsher sentencing in organized crimes, especially those involving public figures. The Supreme Court had sent a message not only to the criminals at hand but to anyone who might imagine that fame and money could shield them from justice. In a nation where celebrity often seemed untouchable, the trial had rewritten the rules. And yet, for all the firmness of the judgment, an emptiness remained. Could justice ever truly exist when a life so young and full of promise had been extinguished? Could any sentence, death or life imprisonment, truly balance the scales of grief and loss? For many, the answer was no. Justice, in this case, was symbolic, perfect, and bittersweet. On the anniversary of Yu's death, fans once again gathered to sing his songs. His mother attended one of these vigils, standing silently among the crowd. When she was asked if she felt justice had been served, she paused, tears glistening in her eyes. "The law has done what it could," she whispered. "But my son is gone. That is a wound no verdict can heal." The story of Menglong will echo for years to come. His final tragedy is a cautionary tale for vigilance, and a reminder of both the fragility of life and the cruelty that lurks when envy and corruption intertwine. The Supreme Court's decision was the loudest statement it could make. But even as the nation hailed the ruling, shadows of unanswered questions continued to whisper. In the end, 3 lives would be ended by execution, 17 more would rot in prison, and millions would carry the memory of one man whose light was snuffed out too soon. The verdict was historic, unforgettable, devastating, but above all, it was a reminder that justice, though necessary, is never enough to bring back what is lost. Menglong's voice may be silent now, but his story will forever haunt the conscience of a nation. The Menglong case was never just about a courtroom, a verdict, or even the staggering numbers of 3 death sentences and 17 life terms. It was about a young life stolen in its prime, a family torn apart, and a nation forced to confront the darkest corners of crime, corruption, and justice. The Supreme Court delivered its ruling with unprecedented severity. While the nation felt a surge of relief, it also understood a sobering truth: no judgment, however harsh, bring back what was lost. Menglong's name now lives on beyond music, beyond television, beyond celebrity. He has become a symbol of resilience, a reminder of the fragility of life, and a call for a society that protects rather than exploits, nurtures rather than destroys. His memory will continue to inspire, to haunt, demand answers that perhaps may never be fully uncovered. Readers who have stayed with us through this emotional and shocking story, we extend our deepest gratitude. Your attention, your empathy, and your pursuit of truth are what drive us to uncover and share these stories together, through memory and vigilance. Sure that Menglong's light is never extinguished.